What is good, my people, my peeps? How are you guys doing this afternoon? I thought I'd stop in here really quick to talk about what I have been noticing on social media. And I want to talk about the Essence Festival, okay? But before I get into all that, I want to make sure that the audio and everything is working. And I am trying to simulcast this stream onto TikTok. So I don't know if we're up and going, but we're gonna see. So give me a minute, and I want to welcome you guys in. Welcome in, my friends. We're gonna talk about this Essence Fest, and is it war? Is it war? Has it been war between African Americans and the diaspora? Let's see. We're gonna talk about it. So hold on 1 minute. Hello, Rilo. How are you doing? How are you doing? Welcome in. So I'm going to talk about this. And like I said, I'm trying to see where I'm at right now with this streaming. So welcome in. How are you doing today? All right. So let me see. Let me go to TikTok really quick because I want to stream over there as well. And I can't tell just yet. So anyway, let's get right into it because I don't plan on being on here too long. Okay. So thank you, Rallo. Look, Essence Fest was a flop this year. Okay, my people, my peeps. The turnout was not like expected, not like in previous years. And we know years festivals, they'll have their ebb and flows, things will go up and down. We know that with ticket sales and all that. I am so upset because I have always planned to go to the Essence Fest and I have never gone. But that was one of the things that I wanted to do, make it down to the Essence Fest. Okay. But I have not been able to do that. So I want you all to hear the talk on the streets. Okay. What I've been hearing, and we're going to just discuss it. And I'm going to tell you my thoughts about what is really going down. So let's get into that real quick. Okay, hold on. Let's get into that. Let's get this queued up, right?
Breaking news you can use, folks. You're going to want to hear this. Folks, the Essence Festival that happened past weekend is being described as what is called a flop. And not just because of the low entrance numbers, but also because the focus not being on Black American culture and instead being focused on African and African Caribbean culture. There is a video circulating of the organizer of the Essence Festival, an African woman, saying that in her African accent, the Essence Festival will be going back to its African original roots. Folks, that was the words and mannerisms of the organizer of the Essence Festival, not the thoughts and opinion of this reporter. Because of all this, the question has arose, have they even cracked open an Essence magazine? Keep in mind that the Essence Festival is the biggest Black American culture festival in the world. It's a huge deal and held very near and dear to Black Americans' hearts. Some travel miles and miles away, save up a lot of money just to attend. 500,000 people attend annually, and New Orleans usually takes in about $200 million for this festival. So to turn the focus onto any other culture but Black American culture, when its foundation in 1995 was specific to highlight Black American culture, is odd. I wouldn't go to a Fulani mating ceremony and take a stick to jump up and down with the men and cover myself in mud, then proceed to take my nomadic ass and capture African people and sell them to the Arabs. So why would someone feel comfortable coming into a Black American culture space, leading it, changing the focus away from Black Americans and their culture? Just food for thought. This is Crystal.
So, let me let her shout out her name because I went through some TikTok post and got, heard what they had to say. So
blackness has been news you can use.
okay. So that was Crystal Black. Let's continue before we deep dive into what's going on and my thoughts.
I don't know if they don't understand that this is cultural, this is colonization, what you're doing. Trying to force us, or trying to do force assimilation is no way to get through to any type of American, to be honest with you, especially us. The biggest thing is that most of these individuals make statements such as us not having any culture and things that are like, even though they're walking around wearing things that we popularized in the culture that have global recognition, you can't destroy that. I'm not gonna lie, the disrespect is getting out of hand. They don't even mention Black Americans as if this festival wasn't built up by individuals that were already here. They push directly to being Africans. It's wild to watch, in all honesty. This erasure. This is actual ethnic erasure.
Hi, my name is.
Okay, so that is coming from AIM Global Media. Okay, so I don't know if you've got the gist by now. The Essence Festival just was not the same this year. Okay, it was basically organized by some newcomers to Essence, and they basically made Essence more of an African festival and try to say that they are incorporating the diaspora. Okay, but we have African Americans here that are upset, and they pretty much boycotted the Essence Festival because of the things that just are not the same in previous years. So we're going to keep it pushing.
Culture means motherland, Africa, originality. So yes, whatever it is, if you're African, go back to Africa and connect to your source. They did Africanize the Essence Festival. An African lady is over it. They have African vendors there. Juvia's makeup, that's African owned, not black owned. Let's go back to black owned being black American owned. And you see how when they come into these black American spaces, they never give respect nor credit to black Americans. You cannot do that in their spaces. Recently, not too long ago, they had an Afro Fest in Washington, D.C., and they were mad because Gunna was the headliner. They were mad because Gunner was the headliner. How dare a black American person or black American music come into a Afro Fest space? And I'm pretty sure if black Americans was over the Afro Fest, they wouldn't even attend it. Right? Here's some of the comments to that Afro Fest, to Gunner being a headliner at Afro Fest in Washington, D.C. You see this? All of them have an issue with Gunner. There's one person like, hey, there's other people that's not African on the list, but why are y'all just singling out Gunner? Right? Because he's black American. That's why they're not inclusive in their areas. And you will not be able to run any Afro festival or any Caribbean event at all. So instead of y'all coming into black American spaces, create your own Essence Festival. Because a place like New Orleans, they're not going to go for that. That's a black American space. Now, y'all can pull that off in New York City, because y'all predominantly out there. Y'all can pull that off in Florida, Miami, somewhere, Fort Lauderdale. But New Orleans, come on now. And y'all need to, if y'all do stuff like this, you need to be more inclusive. You see how they come into.
Okay, so let me let him finish. This is Dion.
Black American spaces and push out black American people.
Okay. On the flyer that I made, the thumbnail that I made, I put on there, is this a diaspora war against African Americans and, Africans and Caribbeans? I had noticed that a lot of Caribbeans and Africans had something to say about a festival that was started here in America by African American people. And it seems as if this is a new colonization, because they pretty much did not have any of the traditional things that you would know from the Essence Fest, right? So they didn't have any Americanized food vendors there. They had a competition with jollof rice and jambalaya rice. it just was more of African vendors that were at the Essence Fest. Hardly any African American performers were at the Essence Fest. Matter of fact, from what I've heard, they held back the list who was going to be performing at the Essence Fest till later, okay, because of the low turnout. Okay, so we're going to continue to hear some more people and what they feel and what they have to say about this Essence Fest. And I want to know, what do you feel about something that was developed here in America, and it was to uplift African Americans and their accomplishments. And now that the magazine has been diversified, and they've hired Africans to pretty much over these events now, that they're planning these events more geared to Africans and Caribbeans. And they're saying pretty much, well, get used to it. We're here now. Okay, let's go.
This is why Black people will remain in the trenches. And when I say Black, I mean African Americans, Africans, Caribbean, Blackness as a whole. This is why we will remain in the trenches, because we have so much division in us. It is ridiculous. I've been seeing a lot of videos talking about Essence Festival and how people and how African Americans are boycotting it and how it's flopping because it's now owned by Africans, because there is no African American, there's not enough African American representation. And the way they're talking about African, how condescending they talk about African, or how Africans are the artists, how African artists are invited, how African. We are never getting out of the trenches. You see our people from the Caucasus Mountain, they will continue to do better than us, because we are very unserious. Us as a race, as a nation, as an ethnicity, we are very unwell. There's something, they did a number on our head that we would rather crumble individually than unite and do something marvelous. No. There's always a division. Oh, these people are Caribbean. Oh, these people are African Americans. Oh, these people are African. Meanwhile, you're looking at the same shade of black. But now, when it comes to white folks, you can hear, oh, this person is Russian. Oh, this person is from UK. Oh, no, this person is from Ukraine. No, we don't hear that shit when it comes to white folks. But when it comes to black people, we have different shades of black. I'm so divided. It is nauseating. We are unserious people. No, we're not serious. We will remain mentally enslaved till the end of time. This is why black people remain.
That was, I don't know exactly where she's from, if she's African or Caribbean. It sounds more like she's African. Her name is spelled Ezinne. Okay. So she's saying that we're divided, that we're all one, right? And that we're so unserious because we can't stand together. All of our skin color is the same, whether you come from Africa, whether you come from Jamaica, whether you come from Ethiopia, which Ethiopia is in Africa. But pretty much she's saying, just because our skin color is the same, we should not have a problem with what took place at the Essence Festival. Okay. I have something to say about that. So buckle up and hold on tight. I want to thank everybody that's coming in the building. If you can go ahead and hit the thumbs up or double tap your screen, I would appreciate it. Let me see. I'm still trying to see if we're cooking over here on TikTok. So y'all give me 1 minute. As you go ahead, double tap the screen and let's get it, okay? Make sure this is off. So I'm gonna try to start up this live over here on TikTok. I rarely go live on TikTok, but I'm simulcasting. Welcome in from Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Okay, so let's get it. I don't know if it's letting me get in here, but I hope that it will. So, okay, so this young lady was saying that, we're all black, and I'm just using that. We know what the definition. We're not black. We know we're brown. We know black is void of color, but just to simplify for everyone, this young lady that just spoke, she sounds like she's from Africa, and she's saying that, hey, we're all black. Why be mad? We need to join together in this fight against the colonizers, right? I don't think I really agree with that statement she said. And you might agree with it, or you might not. If you agree, just say you agree with this young lady just said. If you don't, you can tell me you don't agree. Put it in the chat. Let me know. We're going to continue to hear other statements before I tell you why I don't agree with what she just said.
Essence Fest is whack and washed now because it's run by a bunch of Africans. There is no Black American culture that is reflected in Essence Fest anymore. Essence's CEO is an African. The chief, I don't know, one of their chief top level executives and officers is an African. The person that owns Essence Ventures is an African. So what used to be a celebration of Black American culture, the culture that is ours, the culture that we built from the ground up, the culture that Black Americans influenced the world through, has now been co-opted by some African diaspora, Pan-African, whatever, and a lot of Black people are just not feeling it. Now, I went to Essence Fest for the first time a couple of years ago. I think it was like Nicki Minaj, New Edition, and Janet Jackson were the headliners. It was absolutely incredible. It was a celebration of Black Americanness. There were Black people in and up and through it. It was a pure celebration of Black American culture and Black American heritage. But now that it's been co-opted by a bunch of Africans, it seems that nobody cares because they don't set culture for this world. We do. And until Essence Fest gets back to the Black Americans who created it and founded it and lead the culture, it will continue to fail with those Africans in charge. Essence Fest is whack and washed now because it's run by...
What happened to Black American heritage and Essence Fest? So it's not one or night two, and there is a lot of complaints coming through, and the common consensus is the culture has shifted. It no longer feels like us. And honestly, that makes sense because the people in charge now do not value Black heritage. Essence Fest used to be known as the Cookout. It was created in 1995, created to center Black American heritage, the music, fashion, beauty, political power. It was basically like the family reunion created by Black people for Black people. Soul food, a little gospel, a little trap, NOLA. It was a culture that you felt deep in your chest. But now, not so much. It feels somewhat curated, corporatized, and it no longer feels like it centers us. The current CEO of Essence is a former DEI executive for Target. So the very thing that Black Americans are protesting, she was the center of, and now she's the center, well, she's the head, the CEO of Essence. Upon more research, I found out that she is originally from Kenya, and she moved to the U.S. when she was about 10 years old. The point of me bringing that up is she doesn't seem like she values Black American heritage, because if she did care, the festival will still reflect the very people it was built for. Exactly. And seeing as though that's not the case, I can't help but think that she does not value Black American heritage. Instead, it's become a space that uplifts everyone else aside from Black American heritage. That shift is starting to feel really intentional. Local Black vendors are being pushed out. Local creators and influencers are overlooked completely, all while being the very representation that is needed for Black-centered heritage in the South. It doesn't make any sense to me. It has slowly become a place that has been curated for optics and not community. This very thing is exactly what I was talking about in my previous videos when I asked the question, where are the Black American beauty creators? The answer is, we're being pushed out of the very spaces created and centered for us. And not just pushed out of these spaces like Essence Fest, but panels, brand deals, sponsorships, media. And all of this didn't happen by accident. It has happened through leadership, branding pivots, and sponsorship deals that prioritize global Blackness. Global Blackness, a movement that often leaves out the specific culture and heritage of Black Americans. And when brands talk about inclusion but sideline the very creators who made the culture, we should all be asking, if Essence no longer feels like us, who is it for?
Okay. And this is Deidre out of Dallas on TikTok, the voice you were just listening to. Like I said, to all that are coming in, I have gone through on TikTok and we're listening to voices speaking out against the Essence Festival, how it was produced, and how our culture has been downtrodden, stepped over, looked aside, and they brought in all African and Caribbean culture to the essence here in America by African American people. Okay, and so we've had different opinions. One, we just heard a young lady, she sounded like she was from Africa, and she wanted just to put all Black people who have melanated dark skin or melanated skin in the same pot, as if we are the same people. And so I asked the question, do you feel the same way as that young lady that spoke previous, that because we possess brown skin, that we are the same people as Africans, as people from, where did I say before? Uh, the Jamaicas, the Caribbeans, okay? Are we the same people? And that is what people are saying now, because things that have been cultivated right here in America by African American people are being taken over by Caribbeans and Africans. Now, I'm going to tell you this: when I was coming up, I don't know where they got their information about African American people, and I'm speaking about Africans because I have had my encounters with African people coming up along my way, along my journey here in life, and they had a kind of looking down their nose, an attitude of superiority, okay, when it came to African American people like myself, born here, and have a history of my family being here. You know, our history goes back to indigenous Indian, okay, and to enslaved Africans. So my history, my bloodline comes from this place known as America. Going through as a young child, going through racism, okay, going through having to stand there and keep my head up as an African American female, going through all of the trials and tribulations here in America, putting up the good fight, okay, whether it be going to an all-white school, whether it be being driving down the street, calling someone calling me the N-word out of nowhere, non-provoked, you know, things that we as African Americans have gone through and have, you know, trampled down the forest so that people from other nations can come. And I'm specifically talking about Africans and some Caribbeans, okay, for them to come over here at a young age, when I was a youngster, into my early adulthood, and being looked down upon. I mean, they even said that we were as if our blood wasn't strong enough, you know, as if we were the weaker ones because our ancestors were caught in slavery. Okay, and so I've witnessed this firsthand from Africans that I've encountered along my journey. Okay, so with that being said, I personally have an issue with essence, something that was created here, cultivated here, being taken over, if you will, by another culture. And I do not care if they possess the same skin tone as me, because we are not the same people. You know, we were taught in school when they were teaching us about us being slaves, African Americans being slaves, right? And they taught us that our own people sold us into slavery. We thought that for the longest time, Okay. But if you are a history buff, if you are someone like myself and still are looking, still we're searching, because a lot of African Americans did feel like we were lost, like we had a disconnect, because the Africans that came over did not connect with us. They looked down upon us, and they didn't want anything to do with us, and even called us lazy to this day. Okay. Africans will come over here, get grants, loans, and be able to start businesses, and look down on Africans that maybe have gone to 10, 20 banks, okay, trying to get a business loan, and were unable to get those business loans. But foreigners are able to come in and get these business loans, and then have the nerve, the audacity to look down upon us as African American people who have been here going through the trenches. We put up the fights, okay? And for them to come in and try to colonize themselves, the new colonizers come into something that was already established, an established organization, established event to lift up the works of African American people, and come in and tell us, well, we're changing it, and that you need to conform to these new changes because we all are one, and we are not. And I'm going to tell you why we are not. We're going to continue to listen to some more voices on the streets, okay? These social media streets.
Whew. I know that Essence CEO lady, Caroline Wanga thing, whatever her name is, over there that run Essence. I know she's stressing today because them ticket sales is down for Essence Festival. There's a slew of vendors that say, fuck y'all, we not coming. What is going on, Essence? I mean, we know what it is, Miss Wanga. It's getting a little weird, Essence. People say Essence has gotten away from its roots, but I mean, I think the owner's not even white, so the roots been cut long time ago. I do see they have the beautiful, amazing, super talented Susan Taylor, who founded Essence, on the front cover. They never should have ran Miss Taylor, allegedly ran Miss Taylor out of her own company, years ago. Who don't want to go to New Orleans? Now, we know people will be there, but it ain't really going good, and the ticket sales down real bad. And Target gave money to Essence Fest, and they ought to know by now. There's a Louis B. Mayer to Faye Dunaway's character in Mommy Dearest. Target is box office poison at this point. One thing my home state, my homeland gonna do is show you a good time. The Louisiana people also don't fuck around. And when you get to cutting into the local vendors' pockets, oh, we gonna show you better than we can tell you. It's almost like a national emergency, Miss Wanga. These people staying home. It ain't gonna be people that's in charge of Essence. This lady right here saying it's a lot of things going on, but I really feel like she really was just saying that. I don't even think she believed what she said on that little clip I saw. But yeah, these people at home. And anything that's got Target in his name, now, I don't know, Miss Wanga Thanger. You might ain't gonna make it.
She might not make it to the next event planning board meeting, okay? She might not be on the Essence board next year, because sometimes they bring people in so that they can point the finger at when stuff is flopping. Essence, was having troubles with ticket sales, but baby, you came in and that was the wrong move. I'm going to let you know right now. That was the absolute wrong move. Just because your homeland is Africa, you probably just assumed, and you had to have assumed, my sister, you had to have assumed that we were just going to jump aboard because our skin tone is the same as yours. And we're supposed to have this great connection to Africa because of the slave trade and all that jazz. But we don't. A lot of us do not. Okay, you might got one person on your team. You might got Umar Johnson on your team. Okay, he been pushing for Pan-African and Pan-American, all that for a long time. But, we ain't seen a school yet. All right. I'm going to let y'all continue to listen. I'm going to plug up my stuff because it is starting to die down on me. Let's continue.
Within this whole conversation, I think the most problematic question for me is when I'm asked, why are you going so hard for a magazine that supported Black women and didn't really speak up for Black men? To answer that, Essence Magazine was one of my best jobs, if not the best job I've ever had. I worked around the most amazing people, which happened to be mostly women, that poured into me on a daily basis. And since you want to know so much, the magazine was created by, well, it came from the brain of a Black man wanting to support the beauty vision of his mother. And whilst we're there, I just would like to inform those people things that they may not know. Some of your greatest tastemakers came from under the umbrella of Essence. Constance White, who worked at WWD in the fashion department. You had the giant diva of all divas in the beauty industry, who is all beauty, Black, white, and otherwise, Mickey Taylor. She is a treasure, a national treasure. Of course, we had Susan Taylor, who was the auntie that you didn't know that you needed and that you had. You also had Grammy Award-winning Gordon Chambers, came from under the umbrella of Essence. And you also had the incomparable Michaela Angela Davis. Need I go on? I won't. But I just want you to just understand the importance of the legacy that Essence forged within the world from a Black space. So yes, I and other people are protective of this legacy, as we should, you know. And Essence Music Festival, which became EMF, which now is Essence Festival of Culture, whatever they named it, still should operate from the core of greatness and all of the talent that came out of Essence. When you look at their careers, we have been tagged elite in what we do. So there you have it. Thank you, Essence.
Okay, so we know we are the salt of the earth, meaning African Americans. We are the salt of the earth. Everything we do, this is not to brag or to boast, this is facts on facts, okay? Everything that we do, because we keep hearing, y'all don't have no culture. Where did you come from? Y'all don't have no culture, but everything we do, you all copy. Every nation. And when I say every nation, every nation, there is not a group of people that will produce, whether it be music, whether it be fashion, whether it be slang, that the whole world copies other than Black Americans. Okay? You will have Chinese rapping. You will have white people putting rap in their country. And we know where the music comes from. I'm not even going to go down. We're not getting that deep into it because you should know something by now. It's 2025. Okay? But you should know that everything this small group of people have cultivated here in America, the world copies. Okay? And for a CEO, Caroline Wenger, to think that for one instant, for that thought to cross her head, to push out everything that represents Black American accomplishments and to replace those with African foods and cultures and dresses and only African vendors, there's a problem, sister. There's a problem. We're not having it at all. Okay, so this gentleman, his name is By Love Jones. Okay, he's on TikTok. The man we just listened to. Let me calm down. Where my fan at? Okay. Yeah. Hey, we even got Asians talking about where my fan at. Okay. Everything we do, they gonna pick it up. White, Black, and other. Okay. But Miss Caroline, when you I don't know if it was you particular, my sister, from another mother, okay, targeted the small African-American, not the vendors, because you didn't even let no African-American vendors sell at the Essence Fest this year. It was only African and Caribbean vendors who are allowed to sell their products at the Essence Fest. How you figure that? And then you or whomever contacted lawyers to write up a cease and desist to stop local business act. Let me just put a exclamation mark pot, okay? To stop an African American locally owned bookstore from selling on that day. That day, the couple of days, y'all, you do the festival that was coming. Wrote a cease and desist because they had already had a plan, an event that they were going to be doing. A little mom and pop store, my brothers and sisters, Essence, wrote a cease and desist and had them shut down. They couldn't even, you all, Essence, I'm saying Essence because the CEOs and the CFOs and all these big wigs, it's on your heads too. Because you all prevented African American people with businesses in New Orleans to make a profit. Oh, we got a problem. We got a problem. Houston, we got a problem. And if you all don't see, as African Americans, don't see that this is a problem, well, then go back to sleep. Go back to your slumber. Okay? Now, I've been hearing about these battles, the war, the cultural wars that's been going on these streets with what they call them, FBAs, Foundational Black Americans. These people who say that they are, they've been here, okay? I ain't paid no attention to it because we always got something going on. I got bigger fish to fry. But now I'm seeing where this reared its head from. I'm starting to see, because I'm starting to hear different complaints coming across my news desk about how African Americans who've been through the gutter, who've been through the racism, who helped march, okay, for your civil rights, for you to come over here and try to stop African American small business owners from making a profit in the land that they've been in? Oh, no. No, we got to separate the wheat from the tare right about now. We're going to have to separate the wheat from the tare. Okay? I was not trying to get into all the immigration talks, but baby, y'all coming for us. You all are coming for us, the people who've been here, okay? The people you talked about while you was on your flight over here trying to make it to this land, while you was crossing all the deserts and the oceans in boats trying to make it over here to this land. And then you have the nerve, the audacity to try to block African Americans from making a profit. You done bumped your everlasting, baby. Let's continue.
In New Orleans for Essence Festival, and what I'm witnessing is the failure of Black leadership. Please, I want you to really listen to what I'm saying. All right, check me out. Essence Festival, yes, there had been some decline over years from what its peak was back in the day. And the economy is hurting. Companies are hurting. That means sponsors are less willing to put up. You got the whole DEI thing, right? So they're even less willing to put up money for something that they feel like they don't have to anymore. And then the final death knell is this boycott. So we got a Target boycott, and then people are saying, well, Target put in some money for the festival, so let's boycott the festival. What we're seeing is what happens when Black leadership only gives you the ability to tear down and not build up. Please listen to what I'm saying carefully. I'm not saying the boycott is good or bad. What I am saying is there's a long history of Black leaders only having that one weapon. Now, in the past, some of that's understandable, like very limited options. But even in the past, there's a failure of imagination sometimes, right? It's Dr. King leading this bus boycott, and S.B. Fuller comes to him and says, hey, why don't we just buy the bus line? And there wasn't any interest in that. A failure of imagination. I deal with that in episode 7 of the Black Jack podcast. Then you have examples of really successful boycotts that just don't go beyond that. So we look at the boycott in Savannah, Georgia, back in 1960. Hosea Williams leads this movement. They boycott the downtown businesses, and in 1 month, those businesses lose $1 million, which is astounding. But where's the imagination to build from that? Look at Operation Breadbasket back in the day. When Dr. King came to Chicago in 1966, after that, they started moving to Operation Breadbasket, and they would boycott companies so that those companies would hire Black people. And there was, some success with that, and there were some good things that happened. But one of the things that you find, if you look at the history of it, a lot of those companies went out of business because they couldn't sustain being boycotted. And so if your only weapon is to tear down, just like some of those businesses that Black people relied on were out of business, now you're seeing a festival being torn down. Please hear what I'm saying. I'm not making a judgment one way or the other. I'm just saying, if all you give people is the ability to tear down, there are real limitations and consequences, frankly. I'm calling on Black leaders to give Black people the ability to not just tear down, but build up. So it's one thing to tell me to boycott Target, but give me something constructive to build us up. And this was, again, I keep saying the genius of Elijah Muhammad with this economic plan that the Nation of Islam had. They had an economic plan. Like, what can we do to build up not just individuals, because Black businesses build individual entrepreneurs and there's some effect, but you need an economic plan for the group. Give me that task. Give me that to build. The Nation of Islam had slaughterhouses for meat. They had farms. They had trucks. They had distribution. They had a bank. They had all this stuff going on because they had a plan for the group. And I'm challenging us to say, okay, what is the plan, not just for a few people to do well, but the group? Stop just giving me a hammer to tear stuff down, but give me hammers and nails and plywood and everything to build up. So I deal with that economic plan on episode 6 of the Black Jack podcast. You can check that out. But I'm just saying it can't just be what can we tear down. At some point, where's the plan to build up?
Okay, so you were listening to the voice of the Black Jack podcast. I wanted to let you all hear a different perspective. I put a source of seed. I put your comment up there because I did want to address it. You said, I don't know what the deal is. Is it about the music, how the culture has degraded Black Americans, have degraded the music? And I'm glad you asked that because, I have a little insight on what's going on with the music. And I want to speak to Black Jack and what his podcast and what he was saying as well. Yes, our music has been degraded, has been dumbed down. Okay. And I don't know why we still in 2025 have to have this conversation regarding who has the power and control, and who the person who are the people who have the power and the control are the ones that are going to allow you to hear what you have been hearing as far as the Black music. Okay. My goodness, I didn't get to see the movie Sinners, but it was touching on how colonizers would be your vampires, right? We're looking for the next big thing, which was that young boy in the Sinners, the guitar player, right? And they showed you how all of the music throughout our generations have developed and cultivated newer styles of music, right? But we have never had or have never been in full power and control to distribute the music that we truly want to distribute. And by them having the power and control, your colonizers, your oppressors, however you want to say or categorize them, big business. By them having the power and control over the music, over who and what will get released, then you have the garbage rap, the bumbling rap that you're hearing now, the degradation rap of the women. So and that's why I say when people, you know, I've talked about relationships, the wars, the gender wars, and things of that nature, and I hear it within that brothers say, well, look at you know, Gorilla, whomever this young lady is, or Big Red, or whatever her name is, you know, these rappers that are spewing out this poison. Well, they would not be able to spew out that poison if we truly had control over big business, and we do not. So when I hear people say you are no longer under oppression, you are no longer, you know, you can do what you want to do. This is America. No, we're still fighting the good fight. Okay, we are still, but we can't do what we want to do. We can't produce what we want to produce. We can produce it on a small scale. But when a new agenda comes out, how do you think it comes out? How do you think it's reached to the masses? It comes out through your major media companies, the people with the dollar bill, who are able to get all their propaganda out, whether it be through television or radio or the internet now. They are the ones that control what you hear, what you see, how you are able to communicate with one another. And that's why we need to wake up as a people to realize that that's the ceiling. But we should know and try to reach out to work one another, to wake one another up. Because that circular, that nationalized music, if it's poison, you know who's stirring the pot. You know who's stirring the pot. And so we cannot say, well, do you think it's the music, and try to blame the Black people because now there is some degradation in our music. I have to ask, who is distributing this music? How is it getting on the airwaves? There's no longer any mom and pop radio stations any longer. So you can't go in and try to be buddies with the DJ and say, can you spin my record? No. It's not happening. They're going to pick the music that they're going to put on the air, and they're going to circulate it, right? It's on a loop. And it's somewhat, you think that you're free here. You think that you have your independence, right? But you're almost like North Korea. Your music is on a loop. You're being brainwashed through the television, the television. Okay, so I want to say that I cannot just say, is it the music? Okay, because the people that are the performers basically are the puppets that, hey, they want that little money for the little time that they can get it, and then they'll start. And then you hear them on social media years from now talking about they were robbed, they didn't get paid. The music company, they stole all their money. I didn't understand the contract. You know, they gave me my lawyers. The lawyers work for the music company, right? You'll start to hear all that. So we can't say, is it the music? We know who really has their hands orchestrating what we truly hear. Okay, that's probably why we need to get back to going and having our own festivals. Get the big capitalized companies out of it, because now we see what's happening. You can see it, and people are seeing, and they're pissed the hell off about it. African American people are pissed the hell off about, no, we will not fade into the night, because we are the ones who brought the light. Okay, we are the ones. So we will not be pushed aside. And you cannot take our culture and try to compare it to Jambalaya Rice and Jambalaya. And this is Essence Festival. And you're going to have a competition. Who's going to win? Because half of African Americans that normally go to the Essence Fest haven't eaten jumble-off rice. So what kind of sense did that make? How are you a CEO and would approve a competition? Who is the judge? Who would the judge be for some competition like that? Because I guarantee you, the majority of the people who attend the Essence Festival do not eat jumble-off rice. I guarantee you, the majority of the people that buy the tickets to the Essence Festival do not go there to buy traditional African garments from the vendors that were allowed to make money. I would put money on it myself, and I guarantee I would win. I would win. So let's continue. I think I have one more.
This is a temporary New Orleans.
Okay, so hold on for a minute. We're going to hear about what I mentioned earlier about how they even tried. They didn't try. They stopped African-American woman, a book owner, a small business owner, from making money. How are you, Essence? How are you preventing African Americans from making money, but trying to uplift a whole different culture? Africa is not our culture. Quiet as it's kept. It is not. Okay? Our culture is what you over there in Africa have your African boys and girls over there trying to rap, trying to do things that we do over here. Okay? Whether it be good or bad, you still copy us. Okay? So let's listen to what went down.
This is a temporary restraining order issued in New Orleans on behalf of Essence Magazine that stopped Black business owners from making money during Essence Fest. Let me explain. This is Tamika and Kim. They own Lit Diaries in Atlanta. They were putting on an event in partnership with Baldwin & Company, who's owned by a brother named DJ in New Orleans, for Essence Weekend for Authors in New Orleans. Let me make a long story short. So Essence decides that they find out about this event that's happening at Baldwin & Company. They send a cease and desist letter. The parties involved respond to this letter to make it clear to Essence that we're not trying to copy anything that you guys are doing. There's no branding associated. We're independent. We're on private property. All of these things. Essence gets that letter. They still file an order with the courts. 7:30 the morning of the event, they get an order from the court that says that they cannot have their event the day of the event, and it's canceled. They can't have their event because the courts have said that this Black business, these two Black women, this Black-owned bookstore in New Orleans can't have their event, and Essence is the reason. The city council president of New Orleans issued this statement, though. Council President J.P. Morrell says, my office is aware that an event planned by a local business on private property during Essence Fest was forced to shut down due to an alleged violation of the Clean Zone Ordinance. It is completely inappropriate for any large-scale event visiting the city of New Orleans to negatively impact our local businesses with something akin to a non-compete clause. It is especially concerning that the canceled event was organized by a Black-owned business and would have showcased Black female authors on a weekend that is supposed to be dedicated to Black culture. It was never the intent of the council for any ordinance, much less the Clean Zone Ordinance, to impact private businesses hosting private events that happen to coincide with the timing of Essence Fest. Here's my truth. The Black women who are a part of creating this event, as well as DJ, the business owner in New Orleans, are people who I have admiration and respect for because they do tremendous work for our community. It is wholly disappointing that Essence would file such a document to stop Black folks from making money in New Orleans while you're a guest in our city. As great of a guest as you are, you're still coming here. And I'm going to be honest with you. As big of a show as Essence is, to say that you're worried about a small event at a bookstore and filing documents to stop it, it's really unfortunate. And as a guardian of Black people and a guardian of the people of this state, I feel it's my obligation to say, y'all need to rectify this. You need to reach out to these folks. This is unacceptable, and this is not what we expect from Essence. We love what you do. We appreciate all that Essence is and represents, but you got to do right by us, not sometimes, but all the time.
All the time. Okay? All the time. How dare them block a small business owner, a Black small business owner, female Essence, from making money? Isn't that what the colonizers did? Isn't that what has happened with the oppression of America for blacks in America? Redlining us, keeping us out of neighborhoods. Okay? Jim Crow. Didn't we go through that already? How dare you, what's her name? Carolina. How dare you allow for something like that to happen? That to try to take money, and you are a global business. And this bookstore probably couldn't hold more than 10 to 15 people at a time. How much money do you think that they would be taken away from you? Essence. Sad. So you can't tell me this is a new colonization happening, and it's starting to happen with people, African people and Caribbean people coming in, and then to tell us that us, meaning African Americans, we shouldn't be upset because we possess the same skin tone. We are not the same people. We are not. And I'm going to tell you why we're not. But before I go, I'm going to let you hear. You know, I was able to put, I couldn't get too many, but we're going to listen to this sister who's from Africa, feel that we are the same. And so let's get into it. Let's hear.
This is why Black people will remain in the trenches. And when I say Black, I mean African Americans, Africans, Caribbean, Blackness as a whole. This is why we will remain in the trenches, because we have so much division in us. It is ridiculous. I've been seeing a lot of videos talking about Essence Festival and how people and how African Americans are boycotting it and how it's flopping because it's now owned by Africans, because there is no African American, there's not enough African American representation. And the way they're talking about African, how condescending they talk about African, or how Africans are the artists, how African artists are invited, how African. We are never getting out of the trenches. You see our people from the Caucasus Mountain, they will continue to do better than us, because we are very unserious. Us as a race, as a nation, as an ethnicity, we are very unwell. There's something, they did a number on our head that we would rather crumble individually than unite and do something marvelous. No. There's always a division. Oh, these people are Caribbean. Oh, these people are African Americans. Oh, these people are African. Meanwhile, you're looking at the same shade of black. But now, when it comes to white folks, you can hear, oh, this person is Russian. Oh, this person is from UK. Oh, no, this person is from Ukraine. No, we don't hear that shit when it comes to white folks. But when it comes to black people, we have different shades of black. I'm so divided. It is nauseating. We are unserious people. No, we're not serious. We will remain mentally enzlaved till the end of time.
So I have to disagree with the sister that was just talking. I'm gonna spell her name. It's Ezinne. I'm gonna have to disagree, because I traveled to Germany, lived in Germany amongst German females, males, and worked with German folks. Okay, and I can definitely recall having a conversation with a young lady who was German in Germany. And I said that I mentioned something. I can't remember exactly how the conversation went down, but I grouped her in with everybody that was white when I was having this conversation. Do you know, the sister halted me in my tracks, okay? This German lady, she said, I'm not white, I'm German. So I have to have because she said white people don't do that. Yes, they do. Even though their skin is different, it's the same pale color, pink underneath, okay? This German woman said, I'm not white, I am German. Okay, so they do know the difference between who they are as a nation of people. Okay, and let me say, Africans do the same thing that some Asians do. If you've ever gone into an African grocery store, if you've ever gone to get your hair braided by Africans, they do that same negative talk about you, ladies, sisters, brothers, if you go get your feet done, when they talk in their language and they talking about you. But they can speak American English. They can speak English well. All right, broken. but they can speak it. But they choose to talk in their native language when they're talking about you. Africans, y'all do the same thing when the sisters go into the hair salons to get their hair braided. Y'all be talking about the African American women. Okay, same thing. I want to mention about us not being the same. You know, we have Asian people, right? You can categorize all of them as Asian, but you can't say they're from the same place. You can't say a Chinese is the same as a Vietnamese. You can't say the Vietnamese is the same as the Japanese. You would have a fight on your hands, a whole fight. Okay? So how dare you, whether it be American whites, whether it be Africans, or whether it be Caribbeans, try to say that we are all the same when we are not. And I mentioned earlier in my broadcast, I don't think that I expounded on it, but I mentioned how when we were coming up in school, especially I do remember personally being taught that, and it was almost their defense mechanism. White folks, colonizers, if you will, if you don't want to be called white folks or YT folks, to have a defense mechanism, almost to put you back in your place, Black folks, to say, they would say, well, your own people sold you to the slave ships. Your own people sold you to the slave ships. So even from generations ago, the colonizers, the white folks, the white tea people believe our own people sold us into slavery, which is not true. And if you go to the continent of Africa, it is so many tribes and so many regions. If we were to go to Africa and say all of these people on this continent are the same, you would have a fight in Africa. From we have Ethiopians, we have people from, Ghana. They do not consider them the same. So that's why I say, how dare you think that we are the same? And we know now that our own people did not sell us into slavery. If we're going to dive deep into history, you see, we know now that African Americans that are over here, some did go to Jamaica or wherever they are at. The Africans, that their families were sold on that slave ship and went and was sold off. We got caught. We were sold off not by our people, but by people who look like us that sold us into slavery because we were running from the Romans. That's right. The real Jews. That's right. So when you wake up and really start to realize that we are not Africans, we are Jew. We are the ones who ran from the first distillation. Okay, when the Romans came to persecute the real Jew, which is the African American that's descended from slaves, we ran into parts of Africa to hide amongst people who look like us. Okay, so those people who look like us knew that we are not them. Just like an Ethiopian would know somebody from Kenya is not the same people. They know from their looks, they don't look alike, they don't have the same dialect. And they knew that we, as African Americans, that you know us as now, and you know us by many names, from Negro to colored, from colored to Negro to African American to Afro, whatever you want to throw an Afro on. But you don't know us by our real names. Jew, Israel. That is who we are. Okay? Woo, let me calm down because I'm pissed off. Don't play in our face. Don't play in our face. We are not you. And you will not come over here and try to tell us that we are. because you wouldn't go in Africa where you come from and go trolley lot down to the Congo, coming from Ghana, and tell somebody from the Congo that they're the same people. You wouldn't. So don't come over here to America where we have lost loved ones, families, friends to oppression, okay? And tell us that we are the same as you. Because we are not.
This is why Black people will remain in the trenches. And when I say Black, I mean African Americans, Africans, Caribbean, Blackness as a whole. This is why we will remain in the trenches, because we have so much division in us. It is ridiculous. I've been seeing a lot of videos talking about
It is not us. It is not us. And you will not be able to use your skin tone to masquerade as us. You have not gone through the same things. You cannot even relate to anyone from America, born and raised, African American, born and raised. You cannot relate to the things that we have gone through here in America. You only know that you came over here on a visa or on a boat or with your pit and your feet, walking across the desert sands to get over here. And now you want to colonize us? Not today. Not any other day. Let's finish this up real quick. I think I let everybody speak. Let me listen to one more voice on the streets. Hello to everyone who's come in the building. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up. I would appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up. And let's continue.
Keep non-Black Americans away from things that are for Black Americans. What happened to for us by us? Why is there a Miss Black Globe competition at Essence Fest? Essence Fest isn't about all of the Black people in the diaspora. It's about Black Americans, all right? Why is there a Jollof versus Jambalaya competition at Essence Fest? That's not needed. It's about Black Americans. Why are there African and Caribbean vendors at Essence Fest? It's about Black Americans. That's okay. If Caribbeans and Africans want to have an event that's as big as Essence Fest, they can go create it.
That's right.
That's perfectly fine.
That's right.
But there's a time and a place, all right? From them saying that they have a right to say how Juneteenth should be celebrated.
The nerve of them. The nerve.
It's getting out of hand. And for the Black Americans that have an issue with other Black Americans having pride in being Black American, where is your racial self-esteem at? Why is it so low? What the hell is going on? Keep non-Black Americans away.
And let me talk about this before you. The nerve of Africans coming over here. First of all, I don't celebrate Juneteenth. We know what's up with all these holidays, first and foremost. But we know what Juneteenth is about, right? We know. The nerve of Africans putting their lips on any thought of how African Americans need to celebrate Juneteenth, the day when the South found out that they were free from slavery. How you got some nerve? I'm telling you got some nerve. I don't care how you feel about it. I don't care. You got some nerve to tell African Americans how they should celebrate a day that their ancestors died on cotton fields and died in chains and in dungeons. And how you have some nerve to even think we would want to hear your thoughts on how African Americans should celebrate Juneteenth. I mean, you have truly gotten indoctrinized by the colonizers, because you put in your 2 cents, are offering up your 2 cents to Americans, African Americans, Jew people. You know, we know the fake Jews, who they are, right? I'm talking about the real Jew, the bloodline. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the bloodline, which keeps everything that has us in captivity afloat. I have just no words for how you think you can come over here and tell us about us. If you want to celebrate your culture, like this gentleman just said, you need to develop your own form of Essence Fest and get it to the level that we got Essence Fest up to bring hundreds of thousands of people, African American people that is, and spend thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars at one event. And you do that, and you control that. Do you, as Africans, go to Germany and go during Oktoberfest? Do you have the mitigated gall, the gumption to go and tell Germans that they need to, incorporate your African culture to their German fest, their Oktoberfest, when they're eating their sausages and drinking their beer and clogging on the stage? Do you tell them that they need to be dressed in African attire? That they need to have their bratwurst and they need to have a jollof rice and bratwurst competition? But you think that you can come over here and tell us as African Americans these things because we possess the same skin tone. But we know from biology, if you want to even go there, that we are not the same people. So watch your step in America when you try to step to us and tell us who we need to be and what culture we need to have. When you take everything from us. Okay? I wanted to come on today and talk about this because this really got under my skin. And I read some comments from people who are from Africa and the Caribbean that feel that we are the ones that need to scatter and go start over again, or be pushed away and let them come in and live the good life because they were supposedly getting all these loans and things of that nature, and we're the lazy ones of the bunch. We are the builders. We are the stone that the builders rejected. Okay, we are the ones that everyone in the world, they keep their hand on us because we are the pulse. We are the blood because we come from the bloodline. Okay, I will be bringing you more and more content. Stay tuned, lock it in. If you enjoyed this platform, go ahead and subscribe. Subscriptions are free. And always, support by hitting that dog on thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. And I am out, and much love.